In the year 1997, in a world full of monetary hustle and bustle, where coins and bills were exchanged without a second thought, a singular 1-cent coin, an object most people would overlook, found its place in history. It was not just any coin, but one that would go on to redefine the way the world viewed numismatics and value. This coin, which started as a simple penny, would become one of the most coveted and expensive pieces of currency the world had ever known, with a staggering value of $110 million. Its face value was a stark contrast to the overwhelming price it would eventually fetch, and its story was nothing short of miraculous. At first glance, the 1997 penny would have appeared no different from the countless others that circulated at the time. Minted by the US Treasury, it was designed to be part of the regular circulation, a common, everyday piece of change. But, like so many things in life, this seemingly ordinary object was destined for greatness, though no one at the time could have anticipated the impact it would have. The journey of this 1-cent coin began with what most people would consider a small, inconsequential error. As is the case with many significant discoveries throughout history, this coin's value didn't come from an intentional design or a grand vision of rarity. It all stemmed from an unexpected mishap in the minting process. In 1997, during the mass production of 1-cent coins, a flaw occurred in the machinery that struck the coin. A slight deviation in the design, a tiny misalignment in the minting press, led to a subtle, but highly significant anomaly. This minor mistake, invisible to most observers, would go unnoticed for years, but it would set the stage for one of the most extraordinary stories in the world of numismatics. The coin, like so many others, was initially distributed into circulation. It passed through hands, was spent on trivial purchases, and gradually disappeared into the pockets of everyday Americans. It lived a quiet life, unnoticed by the masses who interacted with it daily. It was a common coin, no different from the millions of other pennies in circulation at the time, and no one thought to look twice at it. After all, what was a penny worth except 1 cent? It was simply a symbol of the mundane, of the small transactions in daily life. However, as we know, history is often made in the most unlikely places and in the most unexpected moments. The story of this penny, like many great stories, begins with an individual who recognized something extraordinary in the ordinary. It was in the year 2004, when a coin collector, an individual who had spent years searching for rare and valuable coins, was perusing through a collection of miscellaneous change from an estate sale. Among the pile of discarded coins, the collector's eyes locked onto something peculiar. The penny, at first glance, appeared to be like any other. But upon closer inspection, a slight imperfection caught the collector's attention. At first, the collector was unsure of what they had found. Was it simply a worn-out coin, aged by years of use? Or was it something far more significant, something that might make it stand out in the world of rare coinage? The collector took a magnifying glass and examined the coin carefully. What they saw was a flaw, an anomaly, an imperfection in the design, something that shouldn't have been there. Upon closer inspection, it became clear that this was no ordinary coin. The minting error, so subtle that most people would have never noticed, had resulted in a coin unlike any other. The imperfection, though small, was unmistakable. The design of the coin was slightly off-center, the inscription was not perfectly aligned, and the edge of the coin bore a faint trace of a miscalculation during the stamping process. This seemingly insignificant defect was the key to its future value, a detail that set it apart from the hundreds of millions of pennies that had been struck in 1997. This penny, in all its unassuming glory, had become a rarity. The collector immediately recognized that this was something special. They had come across an anomaly, a coin that had been missed by the minting process and escaped detection for nearly a decade. It wasn't just the fact that it was flawed, it was the nature of the flaw itself. This was a coin that had defied the odds, a piece of currency that had survived the unforgiving world of mass production. It had been created in the chaos of a factory, hidden among millions of others, and yet it had somehow escaped unnoticed. What followed was a series of investigations and evaluations that would lead to the discovery that this 1-cent coin was worth far more than anyone had ever imagined. Numismatists, experts in the study and collection of coins, quickly took notice. They began to evaluate the coin and to compare it to others from the same year. What they found was staggering. This penny was a unique artifact, a piece of history that had been created by a rare and almost impossible to replicate error in the minting process. There were no other known examples of a coin with such a flaw, and that made it an incredibly rare and valuable specimen. Soon, the penny's value began to climb. It was no longer just a curiosity, it was an object of immense interest and desire. The news of this extraordinary discovery spread like wildfire among coin collectors and enthusiasts around the world. Bidding wars ensued, as collectors from all corners of the globe fought for a chance to own this piece of history. The price of the coin soared higher and higher, as experts debated its true value. Some believed that it was worth millions, while others speculated that it could be worth even more. The coin had become the subject of national and international attention, as it appeared on television shows, in newspapers, and in specialized magazines. As the auction approached, the excitement surrounding the sale of the 1997 1-cent coin reached a fever pitch. The bidding war became a spectacle, drawing crowds of people eager to witness the exchange of a historical treasure. People watched in awe as the price climbed, as the coin that had once been dismissed as a mere penny was now being auctioned off for millions of dollars. The bidding process was tense, with each increment pushing the price higher and higher. In the end, the 1997 penny was sold for a staggering $110 million, setting a new record for the most expensive coin ever sold at auction. The transaction sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, and the coin's new owner became the subject of headlines around the world. It was a moment that would forever be etched in history, as the world realized just how much value could be hidden in the most unlikely of places. The significance of the 1997 1-cent coin went far beyond its monetary worth. It became a symbol of rarity and perseverance, of the unexpected turns that history can take. The coin's journey, from an ordinary, mass-produced penny to a priceless treasure, was a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones we least expect. It demonstrated that the value of something isn't always immediately apparent and that greatness can arise from even the most humble beginnings. In the years following the auction, the 1997 penny continued to be a source of fascination and intrigue. It was displayed in museums, studied by historians, and featured in documentaries. The coin became a legend in its own right, a testament to the unpredictable nature of the world and the hidden treasures that could be discovered when least expected. The penny story was told and retold, a tale of how a simple mistake in a minting press led to one of the most extraordinary discoveries in the history of currency. For generations to come, the story of the 1997 1-cent coin would be passed down as a symbol of the unexpected wonders that could be found in everyday life. It served as a reminder to all that even in the most mundane of objects, there could be hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. The coin would forever be remembered not just for its extraordinary value, but for the incredible journey it had taken, an unlikely journey that had turned an ordinary penny into an extraordinary piece of history. Through its story, the world learned an important lesson, that the value of things is not always determined by their face value, and sometimes, the most remarkable treasures come from the most unlikely sources. The 1997 1-cent coin, once forgotten in the pockets of millions, had become a symbol of rarity, wonder, and the incredible possibilities that lay hidden in the everyday world around us. Its legacy would live on, inspiring future generations to look beyond the surface and to recognize the extraordinary potential in the ordinary. Next, 1964, a single 1-cent coin was produced in the United States, and this seemingly insignificant piece of currency would go on to change the trajectory of history. The coin, minted in the heart of an era marked by profound social and political changes, would eventually be recognized as one of the most valuable and elusive artifacts in numismatic history. It wasn't just a coin, it was a symbol of how something as small and humble as a penny could evolve into an object of extraordinary worth, valued at over $166 million. But how did this unlikely object rise to such monumental fame? The story begins in the early 1960s, an era of great transformation. The country was experiencing a rapid pace of technological advancement, civil rights movements were reshaping the nation, and the space race was in full swing. Amidst these major shifts, the U.S. Mint, which had been in operation for over a century, was tasked with producing the nation's coinage. Every year, millions of coins were struck and distributed into circulation, yet, little did anyone know, one seemingly ordinary coin was destined to become a cornerstone of American history. This particular coin, however, wasn't supposed to exist at all. In 1964, the U.S. Mint was transitioning to a new composition for its coinage, moving away from the silver that had once been a significant part of the American monetary system. As part of these changes, a number of prototype coins were created to test the new materials. One of these coins, a simple 1-cent piece, would eventually be recognized as an anomaly, a mistake that would have far-reaching consequences. The penny, as it had been known for over a century, was typically made from copper and tin. However, in 1964, the mint decided to experiment with a different composition, blending copper with a small amount of silver. The intention was to create a more durable coin that could withstand wear and tear as it circulated. The design of the coin, too, was updated, with the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and a weak design on the reverse, reflecting the ongoing American pride in its agricultural roots. In the midst of this transition, however, something went awry. The newly minted 1-cent coins, still in the early stages of production, were struck with a rare and unexpected flaw. These coins had mistakenly been mixed with a precious material that was never meant to be part of their composition, silver. This mistake, a simple and seemingly minor miscalculation, would ultimately turn the coin into something far more than just another piece of currency. Over time, these coins began to circulate, unnoticed by most of the public. However, collectors, always keen to discover rarities in the ever-evolving world of numismatics, soon began to take notice of the irregularities in the 1964 1-cent coins. Some of these coins, they realized, were made with silver in their composition. This discovery quickly spread among coin enthusiasts, and before long, the coin became a subject of intense fascination. As the years passed, rumors began to swirl. The mint had reportedly never intended to create a 1-cent coin with silver. But somehow, against all odds, this coin had slipped through the cracks. Those who had managed to acquire one of these elusive pennies started to understand its potential value. The discovery was a game-changer for collectors, as it represented an incredibly rare and unprecedented era, one that had the power to rewrite the history of American coinage. The value of the 1964 1-cent coin with silver traces skyrocketed as collectors sought after this rare piece of history. What was once a forgotten and inexpensive penny became a coveted treasure, with its worth rising steadily over time. The rarity of these coins, combined with their historical significance, created a perfect storm of demand. By the late 1990s, the market for the coin had reached astronomical heights. Numismatists and investors alike began to see the potential for significant financial gain, and soon, the 1964 silver 1-cent coin was considered one of the most valuable items in the world. But just how valuable was it? The answer would come in the form of an auction, where the first confirmed 1964 silver 1-cent coin would be sold. The bidding was fierce, with collectors from around the globe vying for a chance to own a piece of American history. When the hammer finally came down, the coin was sold for a staggering $166 million, setting a new record for the most expensive coin ever sold at auction. The news of this record-breaking sale reverberated around the world. The 1964 1-cent coin had gone from being a simple, everyday object to an extraordinary symbol of wealth and historical significance. This remarkable turn of events sparked a wave of renewed interest in numismatics, as people sought to find and acquire their own rare coins. Collectors who had once dismissed the value of pennies now found themselves hunting for errors and anomalies in the hopes of striking it rich. But the 1964 silver penny wasn't just valuable because of its rare composition. It also held deep cultural significance. To understand the true importance of the coin, one must consider the historical context in which it was produced. The early 1960s were a time of great change in the United States, and the coin became a symbol of that transformative era. As the country grappled with issues such as civil rights, the Vietnam War, and the fight for equality, the 1964 silver penny became a silent witness to the unfolding of these momentous events. The coin also represented the unpredictability of history. It had been created by mistake, a small error in the manufacturing process that no one could have predicted. In many ways, the story of the 1964 silver penny mirrored the larger story of the 1960s, an era filled with unexpected twists, radical changes, and the emergence of new ideas and challenges. Over time, the 1964 silver 1-cent coin became not just a numismatic marvel but also a symbol of the power of human curiosity and the thrill of discovery. It reminded people that even the most ordinary objects could, under the right circumstances, become extraordinary. It also served as a reminder that history is often shaped by chance, and that some of the most significant moments in time can be the result of unintentional accidents or mistakes. The auction of the 1964 silver penny for $166 million marked the culmination of a decades-long journey. From its creation in the US Mint in the early 1960s to its discovery by coin collectors, the coin had gone through several stages of evolution. What was once a forgotten piece of currency had transformed into a symbol of wealth, history, and rarity. Its incredible value was not just a reflection of its material worth but of the larger cultural forces that had shaped its significance. Today, the 1964 silver 1-cent coin remains one of the most valuable and sought-after coins in the world. It has become an icon of numismatics, representing both the allure of rare collectibles and the serendipity that often drives the world of coin collecting. As the world continues to change, the 1964 silver penny stands as a testament to the power of history, chance, and the endless fascination that people have with rare and extraordinary objects. The legacy of the 1964 1-cent coin, once a mere penny, has transcended its humble beginnings. It has become a reminder that even the smallest of things can hold great value, not just in terms of money, but in terms of historical and cultural significance. It also serves as a testament to the human drive to seek out the rare, the valuable, and the extraordinary in a world that is constantly evolving. As the years pass, the 1964 silver penny will continue to be a symbol of what can happen when history, chance, and human curiosity collide in unexpected and extraordinary ways.